Well, good evening, all. 7 o'clock, and I think we'll just have a small meeting tonight. I want to actually talk on the success stories. There's been many success stories in rail, and I just took a couple, of the people that that over the years we keep in contact, we stay in contact. Um, for all of us going through this lockdown, this insane nonsense. Hi, Richard. Hi, everyone. Um, if you decide that, well, the people with struggling with cigarettes and that, and I'm sure most people are struggling with cigarettes. Can you imagine that the addict or the alcoholic that has crossed the invisible line, how he struggled, and people look down on them and why can't he stop? Why can't he stop? There's a reason, and there comes to a time that you're going to stop. So I just thought, we'll talk on the success stories of the lately success stories of people that have done well, because we always concentrate, I feel, on the negative part of it, and instead of concentrating on the people that have done well in their recovery. So I made a little bit of a list, and excuse me for the ones that I've left out, but these are the ones that just came into my head straight away, and I can take you through a bit of success. So no one must tell me we can't change, because we can change, and if we want to change. We see too much enabling from parents, we see too much enabling from other loved ones. If you want to change, you will change. If you're watching Facebook and social media very closely at the moment, the amount of people that are relapsing around the world is insane. People can't handle the stress. So government says, okay, the virus is this is what's happening with the virus, but they don't take into effect what is happening to the addict, what is happening to the alcoholic, what is happening to the people with mental illness. So, I'm not going to go into the debate of is the government right or is the government wrong. I just think they're wrong. I don't think they have got the advice properly, and I don't think that they know that just cutting off alcohol to people, I'm an alcoholic, but just cutting off alcohol to people is dangerous. It can cost them their lives. But the government hasn't thought further than that. So I think we're just going to leave them. Otherwise, this could be a long parody of what I think of them and what I think of their ministers, that they haven't taken people into account, and they hold everything against you. You must understand that we've got a vindictive government. So, whatever you say is going to be held against you. But I would stand up for the truth. This is me. Even if it means that I must stand up alone, I will stand up for the truth. They can do whatever they like to me. I've gone through a hell of a battle in my life, and the people that I'm going to mention to you tonight have gone through a hell of a battle as well. And we're winning at the moment. We're winning at the moment. I'm also going through a battle to get my mother. But thank God I'm sober going through this battle to get my mother. Because if I wasn't sober, it wouldn't be going through like this, I can guarantee you. But thank God I'm sober, I've got the people in line, I've got the lawyers, etc., 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 that I don't have to do things that I did in the past. Because those things are over. We've all walked our road to freedom. Every one of us. And I'm proud of the people that have come through rail. I've said to them often, the people who come through there, you don't have to like me, you don't have to love me, I'm not here on a personality parade, man. But if you listen to me, and if you listen to the people who are in management with me, you will find a way to stay sober. You will find God. You will find peace and serenity, and you can go out there and be the man that you want to be. So I just excuse that I haven't shaved, but my shave is on lockdown. Everything has to be on lockdown, so that's how we go. I'm going to start with a guy by the name of Richard. Richard, who came to me 2.5 years ago. Goners, overs, done. And I remember talking to him one day and saying to him, Richard, you became a Springbok. When he walked in there, he was completely stuffed. Let's just call it like it is, because that's the way we speak at rail. We don't pussyfoot around anything. We play with a dangerous disease called alcoholism, addiction, drug addiction, whatever you want to call it. We play dangerous, and now we need to play hard if we are going to get sober. Not always the person, it's always the principalities, the personalities to the principles. We go on the principles. You want to change? We'll give you change. We'll help you to get change, but we cannot keep you sober. That is for you to go out there and demonstrate how to be sober, how to carry the message to the next still suffering alcoholic and addict who are suffering today. Let me tell you now, I've never, in my 56 years of God making green apples, I never thought it would be easier to buy drugs than it's easier to buy alcohol or cigarettes. That's how warped this country has become. The 17-year, just a little thing on that, because I don't want to keep you up tonight. I know it's Sunday night, but you've got nowhere to go to because you're locked down. The 70-year-old man and woman who normally have their glass of wine and a couple of cigarettes at night, why must they be denied? Why must they be denied in their elderly age from their comfort that they enjoy? They're not alcoholics or addicts. They're not disturbing people's lives, but it's to break the back of the people. This country wants to break the back of the people. So either we're going to stand up and be together, or we're just going to fold. And we're going to watch our parents go through hell. Come on, people. Us addicts, we've been through hell. We know what it was like, huh? We've been through hell, and I say to them all the time, if you feel like you're going through hell, keep on going. Keep on going. So let's get back to Richard before I get very angry with this government that is busy playing with South Africans' minds. You can't cut your lawn. You can't go walk on a beach. But you can be 1,000 people in a street in Durban or Cape Town or wherever you want to be. Let's get real. Let's see the bigger picture here. Where's the church ministers? They always wanted our money. I had more church ministers visiting me on the farm, and they know who they are in Worcester. The one took 75,000 rand from me. Where are they now? Why aren't they standing up for our people? Or is the church just there to take a skatkas and an income and money? Why aren't they standing up for us people? Why aren't they talking to the addicts and alcoholics? We've seen people committing suicide now. Yet we stay still. The world will never be judged, my friends. The world will never be judged by the evil deeds that are going on in this country and this world. It will be judged by good men and women who stay silent. We cannot afford to stay silent. So Richie came in there. Richie was stuffed, and I know Richie's story. He shared the other night, and he shared beautifully. And I remember one day saying to him, Richie, go back and become a Springbok, man. And the day that he came back with the news, hey, I'm a Springbok, Mr. Hall, it was like being my own son had become a Springbok. Then he met this beautiful girl, Joni. I don't know how he got it so beautiful, but anyway, that's obviously Richie's got something we don't know. Hey, Richie, we have to have a bit of fun in recovery, otherwise I may as well drink or drug. We must have fun, because we can't go back and live in the past all the time. We can't just regret and say, okay, if this was or if this wasn't. If my mommy was better to me, I would be this. If my daddy was better to me, I would be this. Crap, man. It's your life. Get a life. Get a life and you will continue. Thank you, Katrina, for always coming to preach at RAEL. You're a blessing to us. So Richie came there, got his Springbok colours. It was like my son. Here's another success story. He meets a beautiful woman, Joni. He does his time at RAEL. I think he was there 2 years too long. And love you, Richie. And he moves out, and today he's with his girlfriend. Not knowing that he was going to move down and move in when it was, hi, Michelle. All right, okay, Michelle. Anyone want cigarettes? You just contact Michelle. She's got a connection. And so Richie goes on and he does his stuff. And today he's with his girlfriend. He's got another job. We stay in contact and we're proud of him. Then we got Justin, Big J. I know you've heard of Big J. Big J came to the farm. I know he was small J when he came to the farm, but he was still quite big. And I thought, okay, well, I can take him on. I can take him out. But then I realized, no, he is actually a big boy. And over the years, he get this man with a tremendous support of his now wife, Tosca Potgieter. Yes, this girl used to phone me every 5 minutes. How's Justin? How's Justin? How's Justin? The love of that girl for him, I've never, and I mean this, I've never seen such love from one girl to that guy all the time. All the time. And she phoned me and looking at them today, and they got babas now, they're happy. Justin's got a good job. They got a good relationship. It's wonderful. These are people I want to go to war with. When I mean war, I mean to take back our streets from the drug dealers, to take our addict children out of the drug dens. It's with these people I want to go, who've walked the road, but now we know how to walk the road of cleanliness. We know how to walk the road of straightness. We know how to use the old con and the old addict behavior to our benefit. Then we got Freddie Cars. Freddie came in 5 years ago. No, I think 5-6 years ago. He'd been to 18 rehabs. He had more injections in him than some people that go to Mavericks. And Freddie was gone. Okay, Richard's also advertising cigarettes. He hasn't lost the con yet. I get so excited when I speak of these men, because these men are like my children. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're like the sons I never had. I love them to bits, all of them, even though they've irritated the shits out of me at times, but I've loved them to bits. So Freddie comes in there with long hair longer than I've seen on most women, and he stays there 7-8 months, and something happens in Freddie's life. And I call Freddie in one day. I say, Freddie, what's happened? He says, Mr. Hall, I found God. Freddie is now happily married, got babas, and he named his one child after me, which is beautiful, which is an honor. And Freddie is doing so well. We got Angus and AD, people who came in there broken. Angie doing so well. AD doing so well. We got Dominique out there, 3-4 years sober. Dominique's mother is a minister in cabinet. We've had Springboks on our farm. We've had police generals, their children, police generals' brother-in-laws on our farm. Dean Felix is sober. What a character. Had his girlfriend killed, or he didn't have a kill. He would have in the past. But his girlfriend got killed a while ago. But he's still staying on his sobriety road. He's still going 2-3 years. Doing so well. Hey, stop smoking on this post here, Debbie. You know, and Dominic doing well, serving the community, going to church, hear from him regularly. We got Ryan. We got Kyle Richardson, who's done so well. I think he's 7 or 8 years. His dad will tell you when he came in, when his dad dropped him off, that there was no hope for him. I'm writing my son off. And today they've got a beautiful relationship. We got Lee Jason, who's been with me for 3 years. What a beautiful young man. Out there working now, living on the farm, seeing his mother who's just come from America. Good people, man. We've got Werner doing well. He's about 18 months on the farm. These people who, we've walked that walk, man. Walked that walk. Grant van Rensburg, Graham's brother, look how well he's done. And look how well he's doing. We've got Gartha Lario, who's out there in Bodesig Edgemead. Andrew Brown, staying sober. The list is endless of people that have done well in their lives. That have taken this concept that I can't to I can and I will carry this message to the still suffering addict and alcoholic. And I've left the two, not for last before I carry on, but the two for last, and the one is Graham. Graham van Rensburg. Graham the Great. Actually my little son. He came in with a toothbrush and a little bit of clothes. Because he had been to, I think, Adam and all those people. I don't know. I can't remember all the names. And this boy came in there and he listened. And his dad said to me, Anthony, put him next to you. And don't take his shit. And 5 years later, this boy is still with me. Yes, does irritate me sometimes, because we are like that. I irritate him sometimes. But I tell you, here's a boy that has walked a road. Here's a boy that was broken. I got him by the grace of God, I got him a scholarship, or what do you want to call it, apprenticeship, scholarship. You know, if you're a doctor, then you think it's a scholarship, or whatever. We got him an apprenticeship, and today he's a qualified panel beater. Today he's a father. Today he's an outstanding young man. A wonderful, wonderful boy that I'd love. I'll walk till the day I die. God bless me, I'll walk with that boy. These are the respect that we've got with each other. They don't put me up there as their boss or the leader of an organization. I head the organization. But these people become people that I love. Because I've been given the blessing by God that they come through my hands. That me and my team. And that includes everyone. That includes the pastors. That includes the doctors. That includes, or the doctor who comes to our premises. The pastors. Everyone on our team is a vital part of our team. Psychologists, psychiatrists when needed, but basically not needed. So yeah, Graham has done so well, you know, and it's those things that make you realize that you're doing the next right thing. Then, you know, let's get to Kurt Schuler, who's now the general manager there at RAEL. Yes, what a story he's got. Between him and Graham and the rest of the guys, if they all had to make a movie, it would be a bestseller of note. Kurt is a leader. Kurt is a person who stands up and takes charge. Kurt is a person that I can leave, even when I go overseas, in charge of RAEL, and I know it will be run properly. Also, just become a father. Just become a father of a beautiful little girl. So him and Graham are like in the race of the girlies now to get married, but they're only 3 months old. Let's give them a break. And wonderful, wonderful people. Kurt is an absolute star. And if you had to listen, evening Garth, I've already mentioned you, I'm very proud of you. If you want to listen to a story, listen to what Kurt has achieved in his life. And listen to what he's been through. Then you'll know the grace of God. Then you will know the grace of God, how this man is still alive. Go ask Graham what it was like to push the trolleys in Kenilworth and sleep on the streets. These are beautiful men, every one of them. And I've left out a lot. Even Alexander from the West Coast, from Langebaan. We love you, Alex. You're an amazing person. Got amazing parents, beautiful parents. Parents that supported us when you were there. Beautiful. I'm just proud of every single one of you. Then we got Lee J. And Lee J is going to give a story one of these days. Lee J had an accident and was paralyzed, and today is in a wheelchair. But she loves this organization. And she does every single piece of social media for RAEL from London, from Newcastle in England. What she puts into this organization is amazing. Sometimes I don't give her the credit that is due because it gets busy. But she's an amazing, wonderful person who I'm so proud to head up our media relations. She's a star in a wheelchair, and she inspires me, and she inspires the guys of the leadership of RAEL. And I know she inspires a lot of people who are out there. I remember, you know, on times that on a Sunday night now, when I used to stay on the streets and when I slept on the streets and when I was homeless and toothless and faithless and everything less. I had everything less. And where I am now 15 years ago. That is the grace of God. That is the favor of God. That we will do the next right thing. We will not be attacked. We will not allow each other, the names that I've mentioned here, and there are more, we will not allow each other to be attacked, that one of us go and fall down. Because when one wants to go and is close to falling down, we will be there to pick that person up. We will be there at all times. It will never be a case of you're going to be alone. If you come through the doors of RAEL, you will never walk alone again. That's the last thing you'll ever do, is walk alone. We become a friendship, we become a bond, and we want to see each other grow. We take delight in each other's achievements. We take delight in Kurt and Graham having girlfriends, having babas. We take delight in Richard in his own flat with his lovely girlfriend. We take delight in Dean living in a hard area but sober. Yeah, we take delight in Justin. He's working. We take delight in all, even people that have left and relapsed, but today are sober. Something must have penetrated them. Something must have penetrated these people. Yeah, we're not always right. We're not always the people that you're going to look and say, oh, they do everything by the book, etc., etc. But we try our best. Because one day in this game, addiction is a very difficult and hard game. Because one day you're the statue and the next day you're the pigeon. When parents realize, let us handle your children. Don't feel sorry for him. If you feel sorry for an addict, you're going to bury an addict. If you're going to feel sorry for an addict, you're going to bury an addict. Spare my feelings, save my life. If we want to be outside there, we want to be like big ouroekers and we think we're the dik dinge. And we want to come into a rehab and say, I've just been putting needles in my arms for 15 years, but I don't eat cabbage. Get a life, man. Get a life if you want a life. Don't come into a rehab or to a I don't even like the word rehab, and say that you want to get sober, but you don't want to get sober and you waste your parents' money. This organization has sponsored more addicts, and I can say that categorically, than any organization in this world. And I'm talking about in this world. I'm not talking about South Africa. We help wherever we can. And we get blessed. Along the way, we are blessed. And my blessing every day is to wake up sober. The blessing of my management team of Kurt and Graham and Angus and Adi and Leroy. Our blessings are sobriety. We get in this sobriety. If we look at today and we all take our years back of where we were broken. Huh? We were lost. Huh? I remember my mother coming into my room and saying, Anthony, when are you going to stop? Tomorrow, Mom. And tomorrow the next thing has happened and I continue to get drunk. I was a person like Kurt and Graham that had to go, and Richie, Angus, Adi, we had to go right to the bottom. And what we try and do today at RAEL is to prevent the youngsters from going to the bottom. Is to help them, hey, you don't have to get to the bottom. You can stop now. There's no reason why you need to get to the bottom to stop. The world today and South Africa today is where the drug dealers have taken over. They have taken over our streets. It's easy for the cops to go and catch a person with 50 boxes of cigarettes. Big deal, man. But go into the dealers and catch the big dealers. Go into the places where we used to hang out and go see how many you can catch. That's what we're dealing with today. Our whole response to the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, I see there's some from around the world as well, is that we are not only living with a pandemic of the coronavirus. Like the Premier of the Gauteng said the other day, 8,920, 200, 407. I don't know where he comes from, but like we're in their hands. We're dealing with a pandemic of addiction. And the pandemic of addiction was here long before the pandemic of the virus. And there was no effort put in by government to make a difference in the pandemic of addiction. But now we use the COVID, or whatever they want to call it, virus, to install the laws to break the people. Are we going to allow ourselves to be broken? Where are our church people? Where are our church leaders? Where are the leaders of the past that used to stand up and fight against government? We as South Africans are like sitting ducks because we don't know what the next move is going to be. We don't know how it's going to happen. When drug dealers are allowed to be able to sell their stuff, while honest people who own shops are not allowed to sell their cigarettes or alcohol. Where hairdressers are not allowed to open, but I can sit 8 people in a taxi. Don't you think addicts see this thing? They see the lawlessness and they think to themselves, you know what, why must I give up? Because the country and the world is lawless. And it's very easy to govern. My friends, listen to me when I say this with a lot of respect. It's easy to govern a country where the youth and the over the teenager, the youth and the 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, when we dikgeruk, or we are so blown out of our heads, you can govern us, you can do anything to us because we don't care, because the only thing we care about is our next fix. So the government can put in laws. Look what's happening up country. Look what's happening in Cape Town. There are parks and parks and parks of people that are drugged. And no one is saying a word. It gets kept off the news. Thank God for social media. So you make a country drugged. You make a youth drugged. They don't care about anything else. And you just walk in and make laws and rules and laws and rules that they make all the day. So it's upsetting. It's upsetting for everyone. But this was more about a meeting of RAEL is a successful organization because it is run by God. Now you can say, hey, but you're not holier than thou. You smoke cigarettes. Yes, I do smoke cigarettes, man. What is in the light must come in. What is in the dark must come into the light, man. I'm not going to play here like there's some angel organizing here. I went from the park bench, by the grace of God, to running RAEL. I opened that RAEL without ever being to a rehabilitation center. I've never been to rehab. My mother and father would never have paid for me to go to a rehab. I remember my mother saying to me, Anthony, you caused it. I'm sick and tired of your shit. I think she used that word. She did now and then when she got angry. You go and get sober. So it took me via the pavements of South Africa, all over South Africa. I know the whole of South Africa. I say that with respect. I toured it on foot. I didn't tour it like Richie tours it on Backabuddy and all this kind of nonsense. Richie loves Backabuddy. Sorry, I just had to wet my lips there. And that is the way I had to get sober. Via Paulsmoor prison, via St. Albans prison, via Flotka Morgan prison, and sleeping on the streets of South Africa. I'm used to looking around the streets for an ANC or for a topper for something to smoke. But 15 years ago, that changed. And maybe I could just close off with this, how it changed for the people that don't know me. Or people have never heard my story. Tonight I didn't feel like talking about my story, the whole story, because it'll take too long. I wanted to give credit tonight to these brave men that I've mentioned, and there are many more. But to these men I've mentioned, I'm going to mention them again. Kurt and Graham, Kurt Schuller and Graham van Rensburg, Richard Ferreira, and his girlfriend Joni, and his wonderful mother that stood by him. I don't forget anything, man, when it comes to the love of an addict. The greatest love you will ever find is one addict to another when they're sober. Freddie Cars, who's just lost his father, love him to bits. Angus, whose dad's a pastor, love them all. AD, who's come back from a setback, but he's over a year now that he's showing that this is his calling to help his fellow human being. I may be jumping from one topic to another, but I'm a bit emotional tonight. When I wrote this list down, I thought, wow, what a powerful God we serve. What a powerful God we serve. How lucky I am to have such wonderful leaders with me in this organization. How thankful I am to God for what He's done for me, what I couldn't do for myself. Dominic, Dean Felix, Ryan Lincoln, Carl Richardson, Lee Jason, Werner, Grant van Rensburg, Gareth Alaria, Andrew Brown. So many people have walked through our doors and today are living a sober, genuine, beautiful life. If you touch one life, you've made a difference in someone's life. When are we going to make that difference in other people's lives? When are we going to look at the poor now? The poor is not the homeless person anymore. The poor is not the homeless person anymore. The poor is the people who can't open up their business. The poor is the guy who's got a small plumbing business, the hairdresser, the small cafe on the corner, the weed eating services, the clean bin services. Let's keep them in our prayer. Let's keep all the squatter camps, the white squatter camps we see, the colored squatter camps, the black squatter camps. Can you imagine the addiction that goes on in those areas? You know, there's such special people that have come through RAEL, and there's one very special man there. And he said it the other night, and I'm allowed to say it. He came in with a mental illness from drugs. And he's been with me for over 3 years. And he lost his father while he was there. And I had to tell him that his father was a diplomat. And I had to tell him that his father had passed on. That's Leroy Hopley. You want to see change? You want to see what God can do? I invite you all to come to the RAEL farm. You can hear negative stories about us. I don't care, because the higher you climb, the more negative stories you're going to get. Because I'm no angel and noise my staff. But we know what to do. We know how to get out of the pit. Many years ago, I was in a pit. And I'm sure all these names I've mentioned tonight, plus the others, we were in a pit and we were screaming out for help. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how recovery works. And I'm screaming out for help, and the doctor comes past and he writes a note and says, "Here, go and get tablets." And I continue to scream out for help. And the pastor comes by and he prays for you. "Carry on, my boy, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Thank you, pastor." And he moves on. Then the psychiatrist comes and says, "Oh, you need to go have your head read, etc., etc., etc." But I'm screaming out for help because I'm suffering from an incurable disease called addiction. Unless I abstain, I'm going to die from it. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. And these men that I've mentioned tonight have turned with me, with God, and we're on the road to recovery day by day. No psychiatrist, no psychologist, no intellectual will take us on, because we have walked the road. We know what it's like to wake up in the morning and go and hunt for a drink and a drug, just to survive, not to get high. You go past the invisible line where there's no inclination to get high. It's just an inclination to survive, just to continue, just to live, just to be able to put something in your stomach. Let me first take a drug or a drink. And then you continue, you're in this pit and you continue screaming. And there down the road, God sends a man or a woman. This is not sexist. It's like how many people over the age of 60 or 70, when they lose their partners, become alcoholics. You'll be frightened by the statistics, because that's their comfort. It's like mine. Alcohol was my master and I wanted nothing else. I wanted to go to sleep with alcohol. I wanted to wake up with alcohol. I wanted to operate with alcohol. And I wanted to move with alcohol and my dog. And that was all. And you continue calling for help. And then in the distance, God sends a man. And he gets into the pit with me. And I say to him, what are you doing? Here I am screaming for help because I'd crossed the invisible line. I no longer wanted alcohol. I no longer wanted drugs. I couldn't live without alcohol. I couldn't live without drugs, but I no longer wanted it. This is a physical and a mental obsession, ladies and gentlemen. And the man turns around to me and he says, Anthony, the reason I've got into the pit with you is because I've been there and I know the way out. I know the way out. And that's what us as RAEL members, every RAEL member, whether they're on the farm or they've left the farm, that's what we try and do for the still suffering addict and alcoholic. What motive is there in it for me if the person stays sober for 10 years or 5 years or for no years? What motive is it for me to telling him the truth? Sometimes people come into the recovery center and think we're the enemy because their mothers and fathers have thrown them or said to them, you're going to go to recovery now. And they come in and they think we're the enemy. We're against them. They must get a life, because how can you be against someone when you're trying to change their life from the very thing that killed you? Spiritually, mentally, and physically. And then the grace came in. Then the grace came in. I'm just going to, for the people who don't know, thank you for being here tonight. All of you on board, on screen. It's been beautiful. And to those men that I've mentioned, and to Katrina and Dr. DeToy, who is our doctor on the farm, to all the people that have supported me, to all the Springboks who've been on the farm, the cabinet minister's children, the police general's children, don't forget us. Don't forget us. Help us where you can. Help our addicted nation. Help our sad nation. And I'm going to say this again. Don't be afraid ever, any one of you, to stand up for the truth. Even if it means you have to stand alone. On the 28th of June 2005, I'll be another 5 minutes and then we can turn it off and you can all go have dinner. Love you all. Love being sober. Love being sober. Love being sober. 28th of June 2005, I walk into my mother's garage. I was like kind of on parole in my mother's house. So I had a small painting business, and there was a black man with me for 18 years. He lived in Langa and he came to work every day, and he was my best friend for 18 years. And he saw the dream. We used to talk about the dream of a farm while we were drinking and drugging. That's a bit insane, but that's just the way it happened. And he'd always have a joint rolled, and he'd have the beer or the spoon of spin, depending on what we got from the bottle store. And that morning, I had no intention of giving up drugs or alcohol. This is how God works. It's always in God's time. It's never in our time. We must accept it. And I walked to the garage and I started smoking the joint with Marius, because I'd never rolled the joint, because Marius used to roll the joints all the time. And then I picked up the drink. And it was always Castle Lager, but this morning it was Smirnoff Spin at 13 minutes past 11. I will never forget it. And I put it to my mouth and I left so much over. And now an alcoholic, we eat the bottle. We leave nothing. And I put it down on the bench. And then I tried to pick it up again. And I couldn't pick it up. And I turned around to Marius and I said, Marius, I'm done. He said to me, Anton, he called me Anton. Anton, I know. I went inside to my mom and I said, Mom, something has happened. I don't know what has happened, but I'm done. I'm done with drugs. I'm done with alcohol. And my mom said to me, again? I said, yes, Mom. But this time I'll show you. Ladies and gentlemen, if God spares me, next month it will be 15 years since that day of 13 minutes past 11. I thank God I didn't need the rehab. But I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I went to meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings. And I wanted to stay sober because at that stage I was weighing in at 48 kilograms. I was broken, lost, gone. My mother was watching her child die in front of her. I remember when my dad died, or just before my dad died, and it was in the old age home, I used to hear my mom. My bedroom was next to my mom's bedroom. I used to hear my mom praying, God, sober my son up. Please, God, save my son. Please, God. And I'm one of 5 children. I remember on the 4th of April, 2005, my mom walked into my room in tears. I was coming off a big bender. And she said to me, Anthony, your nephew David has just hung himself. I will never forget the expression of my mom's face. To this day, I can see it so clearly. The expression of my mom's face. And 2 months later, this incredible act of grace from God that took away the desire to drink or drug from the mind and lips of Anthony Hall. I close with the word grace for all of us, and may you all be blessed, and may you all have a beautiful week. May you pray for the still suffering addict and alcoholic. May you pray for our nation. May you pray for our people. Pray for our nurses, our doctors on the front line. Pray for our honest policemen. Pray that we can find God again. Pray that this country can come back, not holier than thou. Pray for real leaders. Pray for leaders who are prepared, like the great Winston Churchill, to stand up and be straight out. Spare my feelings, save my life. The word grace, I start with a G, and it's the gratitude. The gratitude that I could address you tonight, a sober man. I can address you tonight from the comfort of not the park bench where I come from, where I was taken to by alcohol and drugs. The gratitude that so many men have come through my hands, that today I love every single one of them. I love every single one of them. You may think I'm just making the statement on an open forum now. You're very wrong. Because where they have walked, I've walked. And now we walk in this road together. We walk in the long road to freedom. The gratitude that people will listen to me. The gratitude that friends who are online tonight will listen to me. The gratitude to be respected again. The gratitude to be loved again. The gratitude that my mother is still alive. And I will fight till the death for my mother. I will fight for the death, to the death for my mom. No one's going to stop me. The R is the respect. The respect that I have today for my fellow human being. The respect that I've got for everyone watching this. The respect that I've got for the men who have come through my hands. Also for all the women that we've helped as outpatients. We've helped a lot of people. And without sounding arrogant or unhumble, I've helped a lot of people who don't even live in this country for free. Because this is a disease that was going to kill me for free. I respect you all. And today I have self-respect. The A is the acceptance. I accept that I've got a disease. And with this disease, if I don't keep my measures up every day, I'm going to lose the battle and pass away a drunk or a drug addict. I accept there is no other way. 15 years down the line, I realized I must still carry on like I gave up last week. The C is the courage. And this is where it comes into every person, the courage to change. It takes courage to change. And I just want to say to every mother and father who's maybe watching, your son can change, your daughter can change, your wife can change, your girlfriend can change. Don't give up hope on them. Don't enable them, but don't give up hope. I'm the product of the prayer of a mom. My mother prayed me into recovery. Don't give up. Like people are battling for cigarettes, having withdrawals, etc., etc. We had the same when we were on drugs and alcohol. It's the courage to change. The courage to change. And the E is the empathy. The empathy for the still suffering alcoholic and addict. We don't want sympathy from anyone. Our past is our past. We don't ask other people to open up their cupboards and let's see their skeletons. Our past is our past. But we're busy building a foundation. We're on our way on an aeroplane now. But before you want to go and travel anywhere, you must make sure that you got everything in order. You make sure that there's a flight leaving at that time. You must make sure you got your ID book and your passport and you got money to go overseas. And then you get your boarding pass. Our boarding pass is a boarding pass to freedom. Our boarding pass is a boarding pass to waking up in the morning without the headache, without the lunging that I need to go and get drugs and alcohol now. That is our boarding pass. And once you get onto the aeroplane, get into the co-pilot seat and let God be the pilot for a change. Because we always wanted to be the pilot. We always wanted to run the show. We always wanted to do it our way. Because if it wasn't our way, it will be no way. And once we let God be the pilot, it's amazing. There but for the grace of God, Guy. My friends, I thank you. And let me, Anthony Hall, the addict alcoholic, never forget where I come from. May God bless you. May God keep you. Till we meet again. And thank you.